All right, welcome back to Badge of the Bone podcast. I'm Denny.
And I'm Al.
Al, let's do another episode.
Let's get to it.
Hey, Al.
Hey, Denny.
How are you today, sir?
I'm well. I think I'm finally catching back up on my sleep.
Ooh, I'm still working on that. We've had some busy weekends and weeks. You've been busy as well.
Oh, God. Yeah. I mean, we're sitting here recording today about a week off from our return from the Virginia First Responder Wellness Conference
Yeah,
down in Norfolk.
Yep.
And of course, you and I were there for what, 3 days?
Yeah.
3 days.
Wednesday, Thursday, half a day Friday. So,
And, I'd come back from being in Atlanta 5 days.
yeah, you pretty much came back, laid your head down, and got back up, and we were on the road.
Unpacked one suitcase and packed another.
Right?
God bless my wife for putting up with that shit.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But
Definitely good.
yeah. And so I was down at Dragon Con in Atlanta, which I go every year. And if you're not familiar with that, I encourage you to look it up because it is one hell of a party. And I was actually doing a completely, totally unrelated speaking engagement down there, only to come back for us to go to Norfolk for the wellness conference where you and I were speaking.
We were.
So
if that's not frightening enough.
It was frightening to me at the time.
There was a lot of folks there.
It was over 300 people there.
It was a lot.
But yeah, we wanted to talk about that a little bit because that was, I had been trying to go now for at least 4 years. Last year I couldn't go because of logistics, blah, blah, blah. And then like at least 3 years prior, before I retired, I would put in a training request to go to this.
Yep.
I mean, I'm not sore or nothing.
No.
But I would put in a training request to go to this thing, and it was like the sound of crickets. Yeah, exactly. Crickets chirping.
Crickets.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And so you had been going though for what, 4 years, 5 years?
Shoot, well, I think it's been going on since 2016 or 2017. And it's been so long, I can't remember. So I went to the very first one, and it's grown exponentially since then. But I've gone every year. I know I missed 1 year when my dad passed, and I think there was one other year that I just could not swing it in the schedule. So, but I've made most of the conferences, and they've all been really good. But each year, it seems like it's gotten a little bit bigger. And this year was actually the first year they kind of rebranded. It used to be the Impact of Trauma for Law Enforcement Conference, and it was just really all PD. And I know Chris that puts together that conference. It has, kind of took it over when he came to DCJS. That was one of the things he wanted to do. It just took him a couple of years to finally get everybody on board with the changing of the name, but he wanted it changed to First Responders Wellness Conference so that it had all first responders.
Mm-hmm. So
fire, EMS, we had jailers.
Yeah, we had jailers, dispatchers, and you also had people that were wellness coordinators.
Right.
Therapists, counselors, so forth. People that were involved in the maintenance and treatment side.
Yep.
For first responders that were there as well. I noticed that there were just eyeballing it. I would say that was probably 20% at least.
Yeah, there was a lot. I mean, and I think
people were there.
I think that it's going to help with the success of that conference is bringing all those groups because it involves every member from all of those groups.
Yeah, and for those that are wondering, when Denny says DCJS, that's the Virginia Department of Criminal Justice Services, which is the regulatory body for all things law enforcement in the Commonwealth of Virginia. But now I believe we've looped in the Office of EMS, fire
Hmm.
programs. Correct me if I'm wrong. Um, and yeah, I mean, it's. I walked through the door, and especially since we were speaking on day two,
Right. I,
I sit at the table, I'm like, holy shit.
I
there's a
remember
there's
uh,
a there's a lot of
a lot of
people
folks here.
here.
And the first presentation was really good.
Oh my god. I mean, just yeah, and you talk about, oh my god, we got to follow that.
Yeah. At least we
Um,
weren't right after that one. But I mean, all the presentations really, really good.
right, and day one they had breakout sessions,
Uh,
and I wish we had been able to hit all of those.
yeah, that was the only tough thing because it was tough to kind of choose. And then one that we picked ended up filling up quickly, and we had to kind of settle for a different one. I wish I had sat in on the sleep one. I'd like to have gotten that one in, but
I didn't want to sit in on that.
well, we'd have probably both been actually sleeping. We'd have probably been and been out. So,
Yeah, I mean you're exactly right, and that was how do I say her name? Boyle you Jennifer Boyle you
Boilo or
Boyle,
Boilo. Oh man,
and
see now we're butchering her name,
yeah,
and she's gonna probably be on.
and she was really good,
Yeah, yeah, super nice.
but she did her
Uh,
presentation, where she's trying to like relax a room of 300 people, 300 first responders. It's
right,
like good luck. But by the time she was done, I was like, I got to go to my room and take a nap
right.
now.
I can actually sleep now. No, it was really good, and she reached out to us after the conference. So we're in the process of trying to get her scheduled, and she come on to talk about some of the things that we went over at the conference. But definitely good information. I mean, sleep is just always such an issue
Oh yeah.
with police, but with any kind of first responder, just because of the odd hours that you keep, and for police with the odd hours, and in court, and then overtime and all that. It's just sleep is always an issue, and being sleep deprived is just very unhealthy.
Oh, I'll be honest. I mean, I'm over 50, and I'm retired now, and my sleep patterns, if you will, are still garbage.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Absolute garbage.
Yeah.
I just completely pass out and I cannot wake up, or I cannot sleep at all.
Yeah. I have some that kind of some of the same. I can't stay sleeping for a long amount of time, or a consistent amount of time. That makes sense. I sleep for, an hour or two and then I'm up, and then I'm sleep for an hour or two, then I'm up. So I still have that.
So I'm glad that they got into that kind of thing, because really that's a lifetime problem for many of us in the profession, and it extends past the retirement date, apparently.
Well, yeah, evidently it does. And it really is damaging for your health. It's just a lot of the issues, a lot of the stress, and a lot of the mental health does center around sleep. I mean, and she talked about that. Sleep is where your body's going to repair everything, your mind's going to repair everything, your mind's going to filter through and sort out things, and rest your brain and all that. So it's definitely important. So yeah, it was a good.
Your mind sort out things. When I go to sleep, my mind is like two cats running around
well, well,
in a barrel.
that's part of it. Is you're supposed to wind your mind down.
Yeah,
But
I have been trying some of her techniques.
oh yeah, yeah.
So, and we missed the breakout session that she did on the muscle relaxation and
If she's back
hand and
next year,
foot
we're
treatment. I was not going to massage her feet in a seminar. I'm sorry, I'm just not doing that. But
if she comes back next year, if she comes back again, we'll have to sit in that breakout session next time.
yeah, and then we did go to one though that dealt with substance use,
Yes, yeah.
abuse.
Another big issue.
as I drink my glass of Dickel. It's yummy Dickel 15.
Dickel 15 is definitely good. That's one of my favorites.
Thank you for your contribution.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that too is an issue, and I think that's an issue that many of us have seen or many of us have experienced in some
Yeah.
aspect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe not full on drug use or drunkenness, but are we doing the things with alcohol, for example, that perhaps we should not be doing? And so that was good, and it was really good to see that people who do that for a living and have that kind of expertise were involved in it.
Yeah.
But we also had stories of people who kind of like last season we were talking about your situation that had crashed and burned and really kind of come back from the abyss.
Right. Yep.
And those were just super, super compelling. We had, they kicked off the day with Scott Medlin, and he did a presentation called the 10 Code Mindset. And his story seemed in many ways similar to yours.
It really did. There was a lot of reoccurring themes and a lot of things that resonated with me.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'd never really heard a lot. I mean, I've seen, some of his stuff online and always puts a lot of good stuff on there. So I was anxious to see his presentation just because I knew of him and had seen a lot of the stuff he'd done online. So, but it was a good presentation. It definitely, had a lot of stuff that was very similar to me.
Yeah, I enjoyed him a lot, and on the second day we had Chris Moore, who
Yeah.
was captain with Chesapeake Fire Department, come in, and he's somebody. I think his story is remarkable as well.
That was a good one too. That was a real good one.
Where he just really spiraled down, hit bottom, attempted suicide, and has come back.
Yes.
And is now sharing his story and his recovery. And he's just down the road from us.
Yeah, he's not far.
And so Chris, if you're listening, we definitely want to have you on to tell your story to our audience, because it was just incredible. I really enjoyed it. And I think you're listening. So
yeah, hopefully so.
But so we presented on day 2, right after lunch.
Everybody's like, yep.
Yeah. And I don't know. I mean, I thought it went well.
I thought it went well.
It didn't go terrible.
No, we didn't get any. We didn't get an unusual amount of blank stares.
Nobody threw anything.
Nobody threw anything at us. Nobody yelled at, "Boo, you suck!" We didn't have anything like that. So, and a lot of people came up to us after we spoke.
Oh yeah.
And they weren't coming up to tell us that we suck. I mean, they were,
at least not to our faces.
No, but they're all good things to say and were supportive. And, I got some good feedback. We got some positive feedback on some of the things that maybe we'll need to add to the next presentation that we include in there that we were asked about, which is what we look to get. And every time if we're going to do a presentation, we're going to speak, we do want that feedback, man. That's what's going to help it get a little bit better and help us improve as we go.
And it was really like when I got there, 8:00 in the morning on day 1, and they hand you the itinerary, and you're seeing all the speakers and what they're talking about. And it's people that have, either really compelling stories to tell, like Scott or like Chris, or they're people that are, really experienced in helping, in the clinical or therapeutic standpoint, helping. And I looked over at you. I was like, "We are not these people. We are not these people. We're just, oh my god, we're just two assholes with a podcast." I mean, like,
How
and
did we
and
get
how do
here?
we contribute to that? And I like to think that we found a way.
Well, I think we did. I mean, we pretty much hit it on the, I don't want to say angle because it sounds like you're scamming something on me, but that's kind of the angle or the approach of, we've had, you know, our own struggles as well, and the way the job has impacted us. So we have that kind of realistic presentation of how things have impacted us along the career and how we're using that to help those now that either are struggling now or have struggled before, or that maybe later on might recognize that they are struggling. But I think that's how we hit it, that, we related that we've been in the profession. It had some impact on us, regardless of what level, but at some level, it had an impact on us. And now we talk about that. We do give some talking points on what we think are some of the causes of it. But moreover, we bring folks on this podcast that talk about how it impacted them and the things that, were detrimental to them, and how they were able to rise above those, move beyond, the resiliency. So,
Well, that we're not experts
yeah.
by any stretch of the imagination, but we are just, we're trying to do what we can do.
Yeah, I think it highlights. Like I mentioned that, anytime you're going through something difficult, or you're struggling, or you're having a tough, particularly if you're failing, you feel like you're failing. You feel like you're the only one that's failing. I am the only person out here that sucks, that's failing, and it's just not true. There's a whole bunch of people with you, and I think that's kind of what this podcast shows, is that there's a whole lot of people in the same boat and same struggles and a lot of the same issues, and it's kind of a work together
And
to make it through.
something else I kind of took from that is when you look at this, sometimes you see, well, let me stop. So you may think of somebody who is struggling as somebody who not only is not achieving, but may be backsliding,
Right,
right?
sure.
But the more you talk to folks, and there were plenty of those folks there,
Oh
right,
yeah, oh yeah.
that were really, really struggling, but outwardly, they were very high achieving individuals.
Oh yeah. I think that's pretty common.
And
It's
it's a mask.
Yes, I was just going to say the same thing. It's, you mask it, and you mask it very well, and most folks do mask it pretty well until it just becomes overwhelming.
Yeah, the grenade just blows up in your lap.
Right.
But I thought that was, just something that stuck in my brain, um, because I think particularly the general public that may be looking at this issue and just hearing about this may think the exact opposite. That these are people that are not high achievers, that are not successful for whatever reason.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
That it
Most are very high functioning, at least.
that is a very good way to put it.
Yeah, high functioning, at least in respect to their job and their career, but are struggling internally, and
Hmm.
eventually just spills out. Like I say, the grenade goes.
Yeah. So that was one of the takeaways that I had. Another one was the presenter from Louisville PD.
Oh yeah, yeah,
That
that
was
was really cool.
really interesting. So they had two presenters from there. It was a major, Brian Edelin, and Rebecca Grignon Wrecker. I'm sure I'm not saying that right.
We're not doing good with the names. Just
But Edelin is a major with Louisville PD, and Rebecca is the director of the Louisville Metro Police Foundation. And they really told a story that when we came out of that, I was so impressed. I was like, we didn't hear an shit about this in the press ever that I can recall. Can you?
No, no.
So, of course, Louisville comes off the Breonna Taylor
Yep.
incident.
Yep.
And of course, that whole town erupted over that. Not long after that happens, of course, then we have 2020
Oh yeah.
and the George Floyd
Yep.
thing, and that city was a burning mess.
Oh yeah. There it was burning down.
Um, just horrible, horrible. But somehow they had managed to fund through private contributions, ranging from big donors to small contributors, a first responder wellness center with the support of the community
Yeah.
in light of everything that they had just gone through, to where now they have people that are crediting their very survival to the fact that they got that community center up.
Yeah. No, that was really good.
And it was everything. I mean, they had, you know, what was it? Almost a $500,000 donation from Planet Fitness
Mm-hmm.
just to provide gym equipment. They
Yep.
had sports uh, facilities like basketball courts and so forth. They had um, those meditation pods, which they and the major was saying like, that this is he clearly seemed to think it was bullshit. But then he was like, now I use the meditation pod like all the time. So they had those. They were offering ongoing counseling and treatment for first responders
Yeah.
through that facility every day.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was just incredible.
That was really good. That was
And you're talking about a department, I mean, really just went through the ringer and is still dealing with consent decree, I believe.
and they are.
For them to not only reverse all of that and do so in a relatively short period of time, and funding this entirely from the community was huge, huge. I was really, really impressed with that.
Yes, as was I. I thought it was a great presentation. I thought it was a great thing that they did in that area. Um, I mean, they really made a huge difference.
So much so that the mayor was coming out to give his state of the city address
Yeah,
from the facility to showcase the facility.
that's pretty good.
But what's annoying is, again, did, did anybody know? I didn't know anything about this.
Never heard of it until
The presentation.
we went to the conference. Yeah,
Right. I never heard anything about it,
So-
which, goes back to kind of one of my pet peeves about the media is particularly as it pertains to law enforcement. The only thing we're going to tell is the bad stories.
the negative, of
Yeah.
course, of course,
Right.
of course.
And this, it doesn't fit the narrative.
No, it does not.
So that was wonderful. And I know we talked to him, and
Yep.
there's some hope that maybe we get out there and do something there.
Yeah, I think we just got to reach out to them and see if we can't schedule it up. We'll have to take a little drive.
I am okay with this
Okay, well, that's
because you know what else is out there.
Yeah, that's why you're okay with this because it's bourbon country
There's bourbon out there,
and a whole lot of it. So
and we can't fly because we have to bring back the bourbon.
yeah, we definitely have to drive.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to take the truck.
That's fine.
We're gonna need the truck bed space.
Well, you just hear bottles clinking all the way back.
Now, how much is it that is considered that we're moonshine?
Stop. We're not even going to have that discussion here. I don't know anything about that. Is it really bootlegging if it's going straight to my house?
Well, 600 cases of Coors was bootlegging. and Smokey and the Bandit.
Yeah. Still
Was he
need
take that east of Mississippi and that's bootlegging?
actually technically my receipt of purchase is my permit to cross back into the state.
I'm good with it. Receipt or no receipt, it's coming back with us.
We will smuggle that. Well, I didn't say smuggle. But it was, it was really fun, and it was at a great hotel.
Yeah, the accommodations are really good. It's a super
We
conference.
had a lot of time to interact with folks,
Yes.
meet new folks,
Yep.
talk to the folks we already know. I mean, it was just it was great.
Yeah, we spoke
Um,
with some folks with Chesapeake PD.
I
And
think the state, which God knows I criticize all the time, um, but DCJS and Chris Scuderi, um, just and all the folks working with him did just an outstanding job of putting that on, and it was probably one of the better things that I've been to over the course of my career.
yeah, I mean that's why I go every year. I mean they do a great job with it. Chris does a phenomenal job with that conference. That is, um, every year that's very important to him. That conference is good. That he's got a good lineup. That it has, it offers something that's good takeaways for everybody. That
Hmm.
everybody gets really a lot out of it. It's not done halfway. There's no halfway thought in it. He's spends a lot of time on thinking out exactly what he wants to offer each year, and he does a great job with it. And I mean, he will probably start scheduling next year's conference if he hasn't already. He by next month he'll start because he's usually way ahead of the game, but he'll probably start scheduling speakers for next year, which we have been asked if we would come back.
Ooh,
I,
I don't know what we're going to talk about
I,
this
I,
time.
I think we are, but we'll see. That's a year out, thankfully. But
But
no, it's a good conference, and I think for anybody that can go, you should go.
and it is, if you're listening and you're thinking, well, I'm not in the profession anymore. Um, Either you opted to leave early or you retired. Um, this conference is open to you as well.
It is. That's huge because there's a lot of retirees out there that are kind of detached from everything now and probably feel like they don't have any resources, but this is for them too. So, and if you're out of state, yeah, it's a free conference. And if you get on the list early enough, they get a certain amount of lodging. So you got to register early to get the free lodging. If you don't, then you have to pay for your lodging. But I would say even if you're out of state, you have to pay to travel. It is worth what it would cost you to travel to attend it.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. But again, if you're not on the job anymore, uh, police, fire, EMS, you're still welcome there.
Yeah, no doubt.
So excellent. Glad we did that.
Yeah, I thought it was great. All right, but there was also something else we wanted to discuss today, I believe.
Well, periodically we like to talk about the high profile incidents in the press. And I believe we had one recently with the football player, Tyreek Hill.
Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, good times,
I think
good
they
times.
lost today.
Oh, well. Yeah, so I'd been hearing a lot about that and really, was trying to ignore it because I knew it was going to get me spun up somehow. But did I went back and watched it. You went back and watched it,
I did.
right?
It when it first came out, I didn't. I just didn't jump all over it, but I did. I was curious. Said, okay, I want to see what this is all about. So I did. I watched it. I watched the whole thing from the initial stop on him, taking him out, and all that mess.
Yeah, well, I think you and I had very similar takeaways.
Yeah, I mean, bottom line is, as soon as that officer walked to the window, he's a total dick.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, he's just a total dick, and okay, is it against the law to be a dick? No. Well, if it was, we'd have to build twice as many prisons. But right off the bat, he's in a tinted out car, so he knocks on the window and he's don't knock on my window like that. Give me a fucking break, dude. Really, it's not like he was smacking on the window with a flashlight or a baton or something like that. He's
No,
tapping on the window. Really,
and that's the key point. He tapped on the window.
yeah,
He didn't knock. He didn't bang. He didn't use any other object. He tapped on the window of, I'd like to point out, a very heavily tinted car.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you start off like that. Come on, dude. Really, don't knock on my window like that. Give me a fucking break. Give me a fucking break. I mean, he knocks on your window. He rolls it down halfway. He's got an attitude, and he's basically, do what you got to do. Whatever. I got somewhere I got to be. I got to play a game.
Hands his license over.
He does.
And then puts the window back up.
So rolls it right back up, and the guy's like knocking on the window again, and you need to keep your window down. If you don't keep your window down, I'm going to take you out your car. And I think he says something smart back to him after that.
I can't.
Like, you can't take me out. You ain't making me get out the car, or something like that.
And
I thought he said something to that effect. I have to replay it again. And the guy's like, if you don't keep your window down, I'm going to make you out the car. And he's like, you know what? Forget it. Just get out the car.
yeah, then he went full Pennsylvania V Mims on him and just
took him out. Now, I will say I do think that the officer was a little quick to yank him out the car.
I had been, prior to actually watching the tape, I'd been kind of listening to the bits of commentary in the media that I had heard. And that was one of the things that came up. And of course, we hear that a lot with these types of incidents, things that make the press. So I'm always skeptical, like,
Yeah.
he was too fast. He was too rough. He didn't.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what sparked my interest in it. But I mean, I will agree. I think he was a little quick to take him out. However, that doesn't make him wrong.
No.
I mean, every officer standing it's hard for me to say because I'm not standing at that window at that moment. I'm looking at it, days later, watching it on a video. So I don't think I would have probably had him out of the car that quick. And from what it looked like, is it did look like to me when they opened the door to get him out, it looked like he was, and I thought I heard him saying that I'm getting out, but I think he was taking his time getting out the car. He was making no urgency to get out the car. And I think he did say he was getting out of the car, so I don't think he was actively trying to not get out of the car or resist getting out of it. I think he was just not being swift about it. Different take?
I think I hesitate to say that he was being non-compliant.
Yeah.
He was definitely being not cooperative, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I would agree that, not so much non-compliant as he was being very difficult and trying to push the limit.
Absolutely. And then they do get him out of the car. They go to the ground. They handcuff him. By that time, there's at least 3 other backing officers there.
Yep.
Seemingly all motor officers. And they get him handcuffed. They stand him up. And then you're like, hey, you got to sit down on the curb.
Yep.
And so Hill pushes back on that.
Right.
And then the officer was very quick, no, not having that. And said something about his shoulder. My shoulder, was it his shoulder or his knee?
He said his knee.
Sorry.
He said, my knee had surgery. And the guy does fire back. What, did you get surgery on your ears too where you can't listen? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's funny.
Yeah,
I don't care.
I'm not going to apologize for that.
No,
that was very old school.
That was very, very old school. You get surgery on your ears too, so you can't listen. I mean, you can fuss and argue that, but I'm sorry. That's funny. And that's just the thing. He is being rude right off the bat. So you know what? That officer fires back a quip right back at him. I don't have an issue with it. I'm sorry, I just don't.
I watched it and I did not see anything that I thought was a violation of law or policy.
Now I
Now,
will
I,
tell you,
I don't know what their is, but
right? No, I didn't see anything either. I will tell you, my department, if you that was on body worn camera that you fired off, or did you get surgery on your ear too, they would have wrote you up for it.
um, I that probably would be the case in a number of departments these days.
And I get it. I understand it that is that productive to the situation? No. Is it
Well,
necessary?
there's one local department I know that will write people up, if they curse in their car to themselves and it's caught on body worn camera.
Well, see, that's just insanity. I'm
That's
allowed to cuss at myself all the fuck I want.
yeah, that's
If I want to
stupid.
cuss at myself, I can cuss at myself. But yeah, I mean, I get it. Does a comment like that, is that productive to the situation? Sure. No. Is a comment like that necessary? No. But is is that a sign of the officers just being tired of being treated like dirt and talked to like dirt, and they're gonna fire something back? Yeah. Is that a human nature? Sure.
Well, and that's something, obviously supposed to be held to a higher
Sure.
standard, right?
Sure.
But at the end of the day, we are people too. We are
Yes.
human beings. We are not droids assigned to police the streets of the community. We're humans.
And I'm fine. You want to write me up for something like that's fine. I'll sign it. I'm okay. As long as you don't make it anything bigger. You
No.
don't try to, put it under some kind of insubordination,
Thank God I never had to work
public disrespect, insubordination, conduct unbecoming kind of horseshit
with.
thing that you try to give me 3 days on the street for some kind of, you want to write up that I was discourteous, and hey, okay, I'll take that. Put it in the file. I made a smart comment.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Thank God I did not work for an agency that had body worn cameras, or I'd probably have like a stack of those.
Oh, well,
I know you would.
thank goodness it was only at the very tail end of my career that I had a body worn camera. Because but you act like a jackass, you're gonna probably hear it back.
I
But
Is it appropriate? No. Do I have a problem with it? No, also no. I mean, it is what it is, and the thing is, and there was a lot made of this stop. Oh, the officer was too severe, and what was we were talking beforehand, and it was like 100. Was it 100 in a 45, or am I getting that wrong?
well, there was in stuff online was circulating around that he was in excess of 100 at one point, or he was 80 plus miles an hour over the speed limit. I haven't found anything that definitively pinpoints a high rate of speed to that extent. I want to say I read that his ticket was actually like 65 and a 45 or 40 or something like, which is not. I mean, that's reckless, but it's not like crazy egregious.
No.
Like 100 miles an hour, and a reason for that could be, one, he could have been doing it, and just the officer couldn't get in the right position to get an actual radar speed readout before he slowed down, or if it was where he was trying to pace him. By the time he was able to get to where he could pace him, he had already slowed down, or he just wasn't going that fast. I don't know, but that was circulating around that he was in that excess of a speed. I'm saying that you mentioned it earlier when we talked about it as we were setting up, that given the type of vehicle, given his demeanor, I don't think that is a stretch that he was probably driving in excess of 100 miles an hour. I mean, that was what a McLaren was the car he was in, I think.
It was something I couldn't afford. I thought it was a Corvette, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I want to say it was like a McLaren, which, I mean, that's a damn supercar. And if it was a Corvette, it's one of those new car. They're fast. They easily do 100 miles an hour. So whether that was the speed, I don't know. But Al, I really do think it comes down to just the idea that he struck that match. The minute that officer, and you get an attitude and you are shitty to the officer, you are striking that match to make this interaction negative.
And really, what's the point?
There is no point. There is no point whatsoever. You know, just because the driver, and I get the argument, just because the driver's rude doesn't give the officer the right to be rude. They're supposed to be the example. Like I said, I get it, but they are also human beings. There are also people, and police get tired of walking up to a window and folks being just dismissive, rude, condescending, and just shitty to them. They get tired of it. So at some point, and I think that what he displayed, if you don't keep your window down, I'm going to take you out the car, and then you know what,
That's
just
it.
get on out the car. Just get out the car now. And he just had enough.
And all it took, really, all it took was for him to roll the window down. Officer walks up. Hey, I'm Officer so and so. I stopped you for this. I need your license, registration, proof of insurance. Hey, officer, I'm sorry. Yep, here you go. That's it. And you don't have to make nice with him,
Nope.
but you don't have to be a dick either.
It's just that dismissive kind of,
Just
condescending attitude.
and if he had not, as you say, lit the match,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Had he not done that, it just, hey, I guess maybe I was driving too fast. I mean, it's not like he couldn't pay the ticket,
Whoa.
assuming he even got one. He could have gotten a warning. That's the other thing that we forget.
Yeah, I don't know that he actually got the. I don't know, but you're right. I mean,
Hey, man,
he
I know
could
you're
have.
going to the game. Slow down. Have a good one. Go Dolphins. I mean, that's it.
But I'm the same. All you have to do, hand over your license, hand over your registration, take your ticket, and be on your way. You don't have to make, like I say, you don't have to make nice. You don't have to make conversation. You don't have to apologize. Just
Mhm.
yep. I was hauling ass. It's my supercar. It's a fast car. It's a lot of fun. You got me. You're absolutely right. Him paying that ticket is nothing. That's like us stopping in the 7-Eleven and buying a bottle of water
Yeah.
or a soda. That ticket that is nothing to him. His insurance going up ain't gonna make a shit's worth of difference to him.
No.
His insurance is probably paid in full for the year or the next couple years. I mean, his insurance is already high enough on that type of car. He can afford the insurance. He can afford the increase in insurance. He can afford the ticket. Come on, really? What are we making a big bitch
But
about?
what could have ended in the span of 5 minutes
Yeah,
became a
taking.
high profile shit show
Yep,
of a custodial arrest.
yep. Just take the ticket. And and I'm not saying that there aren't cops out there that are total dicks. There absolutely are.
I mean, we've seen them. We've worked with
I've
them.
worked with them. I've seen them.
I mean, there was a guy I used to work with many years ago that if he walked up or pulled up to a situation we were dealing with, we were out with somebody and we're doing what we're doing, and this guy rolled up. I mean, it was like, oh shit.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because he's going to come over here, insert himself, and start escalating this situation from zero to, and yeah. So we admit it.
Yeah, I mean,
These folks exist.
they do, and I've seen many, body worn camera videos of officers that had a bad mouth, had a bad attitude. But if that happens, just take your ticket, take your summons, roll on with it, and then make a phone call later, going, "Hey, Officer so and so stopped me, and I really felt they were rude and condescending. I didn't say anything bad. I admit that I was speeding or I failed to stop for stop sign, whatever have you. But this officer I felt was very rude and condescending, and I didn't appreciate that, and I want to make a complaint." They can go back and look at the body one because now everybody's wearing them, and they could see, oh yeah, here's Officer Schmuckatelli, and yep, he's a total dick to this guy, and this guy didn't do anything rude back. So yeah,
And it's not like body cams are new. I
Right.
mean, really, what worst case? These are 4 or 5 years in widespread use and longer.
Yep.
For there were agencies using it prior to 2020. So,
But I think that whole incident completely blown out of proportion. I mean, at the end of the day, what do we have? We have a guy that was driving reckless, speeding, He gets pulled over by a police officer. He's a dick to the police officer, and the police officer's had enough, and the officer is, you know, arguably maybe a little heavy-handed with getting him out the car and detaining him. He's not in the wrong. He doesn't do anything inappropriate, but he's probably not as patient as he could have been.
I would agree.
And that's really all it is. You have a rude driver, an officer that loses his patience with him and says, I've had enough. Get your ass out. I'm not waiting for you. I'm pulling you out right now. I'm cuffing you right now. And you're going to sit here and you're going to do what I tell you. And they have no more patience for him. That's all it is.
Yeah. And
he didn't punch him. He didn't kick him.
No.
He didn't tase him. He didn't pepper spray him.
I think it is indicative of where things are at in society, that people are, so discourteous to one another on a daily basis, en masse. And then B, just widespread sense of entitlement amongst people.
Yeah.
Like, how dare you pull me over and tell me I'm doing something wrong? And let's be really candid here, okay? Hill has a history.
Oh, yeah, we didn't even get into that.
Okay. I mean, he got in trouble 10 years ago for smacking his baby's mother's around. Like strangulation, broke bones.
Yep.
He was under investigation for child abuse. There was another assault claim made against him much more recently.
So he's not, driving over to church for worship.
I personally think his feet hit the floor every morning, and he's an arrogant dick.
He's a superstar, and that's very
everybody
common.
Tells him his shit doesn't stink, how wonderful he is, and he buys into all of it.
I think you made a real good point about that. Just that it's an example of the larger issue of just people in general feeling like they're entitled. You don't tell me I'm doing something wrong, or I'm going to do what I want, and it's none of your business to stop me or tell me I can't do this or don't do that. And I'm somebody, you're nobody.
And how dare you hold me accountable for my actions?
Right. And you're right. You see that all over, everywhere.
It's one of the things that I think you'd agree with this. This is one of the things that is making the job harder.
Oh, yeah.
And it is one of the things that is causing people to leave the profession or not get into the profession in the first place. Because who wants to police a society filled with this?
Well, not only filled with it, but then it gets catered to by the court of public opinion.
Oh, God, yeah.
So then you have to hear about it in the court of public opinion. It gets catered to this, that, well, he's not the problem. The problem is that they're actually going out there and doing what they get paid to do, and they're making stops for speeding. If you didn't stop people for speeding, then people wouldn't get shitty with you. Okay, then what are the police even there for?
Yeah, just
but
let it roll.
That's where we're seeing that the problem is not the crimes that are being committed. The problem is that the police are arresting people for crimes. What? It's just ridiculousness.
As we were talking about this, there was an incident over the last couple days locally.
Yeah.
In one of the suburbs of the Richmond area.
Yep.
Where guys stopped, makes like an illegal left turn in this part of it was actually Chesterfield County. You can look it up.
Yep.
Our local television affiliates here in Richmond have covered it. And he makes an illegal left turn. Officers go up to the car. Long story short, he's got a gun and cash in his lap. I'm not sure at this point whether the Schedule 1 drugs, plural, were visible or not. I am presuming that they were, but I do not know because the body camera has not come out yet.
Yeah, I'll read you this a little bit on the article in a second. Or I can read it now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I haven't seen what was put online. I guess that a citizen or somebody recorded it, of course, as always.
And the citizens had a tape, and the tape is in the media.
Yep.
And what you see on the tape is kind of the front end of a police car, and it's at night. So there's a lot of shadow, a lot of darkness, but you can see them under the ambient light, the street lights, and somehow they're on top of somebody, and you can see blows being administered. Now, as somebody who was a defensive tactics instructor, I looked at those blows, and you were experienced doing that.
Sure.
Those were compliance strikes, and that's what the PD said they were. I was looking at because you could tell they're not hitting this guy anywhere near as hard as they could.
Well, that's where,
And they're also not going for the head.
right. I think that's where people they don't understand the difference between, oh, actually, I'm looking at this news article now. It looks like, is that just the police out there? Is that the actual video? And it looks like it might be the video. You can't really see much, but that's where people have a hard time. They don't understand the difference between an actual striking someone to inflict the damage, as in a fight, and then a distraction or stunning technique. And those are taught, and it looks like a strike, but they're to specific areas, and it's basically to give a stun or a distraction. So when you have someone, for example, it sounds like this might have been what he was doing, but someone that's laying on their arms, so you can't get them out from under them
who
get them
already
cuffed.
had one firearm in
Sure.
its possession.
So trying to get their arm, if you're just going to try to wrestle those arms out, it's tough to do. So what happens is you deliver targeted strikes to areas to give a stun or to give that distraction, so they focus on that and they're not focused on tensing up that arm. You work their arms free to get them in custody, but they're distraction strikes to take a non-compliant person or a person that's combative and actually get them in custody. And so the article here has, I guess, a citizen gave her comment to the news and said the police pulled into the parking lot and ripped him out of the car. One cop's holding the legs. The other three are punching and elbowing and going to town. Give me a break. Come on, really? And she was concerned for the person in custody and was already on the ground when they were driving, fists and elbows. And to see that, I broke down and cried. I have a young black son. I'm afraid for my life. How can I call them the police? Seeing that, I'm still shaken up. It's disturbing to have witnessed that. Okay, so
the mom commented in the news, the suspect's mom, and said,
"This ought to be good."
I seen that the officer, I'm reading a quote, I seen that the officer was attacking my son and it really bothered me. Well, did it bother you? Your son, the convicted felon, was driving around with a firearm. Did it bother you that your son was driving around with enough schedule narcotics to be charged with, I believe it was 2 counts of possession with intent to distribute?
Yeah, I'll read that in a second too.
Did that bother you at all?
But you look at this lady who's saying that, oh, it disturbed me and I broke down crying, and how do I tell my sons they can call the police? How do I, okay, so let's take out any of the other knowledge we have. When you see something like that, one, you're only seeing a piece of what's occurred. So that person's making their assessment already that these police officers are just gangbusters, yanking people out of cars and beating them on the pavement, which is absolutely false. What's occurring is they are trying to make a lawful arrest. And I'm sorry, when someone wants to resist being arrested, it is never going to look good. It's never going to look polite. It's never going to look friendly. Police make thousands upon thousands of arrests all the time that have no use of force, have nothing. People comply. They put their hands behind their back and they get in cuffs. Yes, sir. Okay. Yep. And they take them down to the jail and they process them, and there's no issue. It's for lack of it's a cordial interaction.
Yeah.
It's a respectful, cordial interaction. But as soon as that person is going to physically fight or resist, it's going to be ugly. Using force does not look good. The optics will never be good on an arrest for someone that doesn't want to be arrested.
No. And the police, to their credit, they responded. And one of their quotes was, "Whenever a gun is involved with a non-compliant suspect, the threat level escalates dramatically for everyone present." That is 100% accurate.
Yep. Yeah, and the police department had kind of described this. Yeah, he was pulled over for a traffic infraction. I guess the officer looked in the car and saw a bag with cash in it and a gun in the bag. Called for another officer and a drug dog, I guess. But when that other officer got there, they opened the door, asked him to step out. He refused. And from what the police say, they gave him several commands, clear and short commands to get out of the car. He would not. So they physically removed him from the car and he continued to resist. And then, for what it sounds like, well, what they describe, he had his hands underneath of him,
Mm-hmm.
and they couldn't get him to produce his hands to get him into custody, and that's where you're going to get those strikes. And particularly at that point, my question would be, if I'm there on scene and this guy is resisting, and we're trying to get his, where's the gun?
Mm-hmm.
Where's the gun? Did he stuff in his pants real quick? Did the officer look
Or where's
away?
the other gun?
Or is he carrying a second? That's very common. So they ended up getting him in custody, and then of course they did the search and they found the cash, they found the gun that they had seen previously, and then they found what they described to be consistent powder substance consistent with cocaine, and then another substance consistent with fentanyl heroin. So he was charged with a felon in possession of firearm, possession of firearm with a Schedule 1 or 2 controlled substance, and possession with intent to distribute Schedule 1 or 2 controlled substance, and obstruction. So this guy clearly, this woman is crying because he's being physically and forcefully, and I would say forcefully, you could even say violently arrested, because it is violence. Anytime someone's resisting, it's a violent scene. But he's being forcefully arrested, and she's fussing that, oh, it's so terrible and it makes me cry and I can't trust the police. Well, you should be thanking those police, because that guy is riding around your neighborhood with heroin, cocaine, and a gun. He's a convicted felon. He's not there to do things that are nice for your family. He's not there doing things that are good for the health and safety of your son that you are so worried about. And they're taking him off the street. And he doesn't want to get arrested. So he's resisting. So the police could just say, okay, man, we're not going to fight you because we don't want to fight. So, okay, drive away and let him go. They don't have the option to do that. So he goes by force. That's how it's done.
Well, yeah, and one of those witnesses actually compared the incident to George Floyd. This is exactly what happened to George Floyd, which could not be farther from the truth.
Oh, that's just ridiculousness, and that's someone just trying to gaslight a situation. That's all they're trying to do.
Well, either they're gaslighting it, or they're just plain stupid.
I think it's a combination of both. Because the only intent to say something like that is to gaslight it. You bring up that situation and try to compare it, but it just it drives me crazy where folks just want to take one piece of information and go, "Oh, this is so terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Look how terrible they were to this young man. They dragged him out of his car, and I'm afraid for my son." This guy is a violent criminal. He is a drug dealing criminal. Now, sure, he'll have his day in court. Everybody's innocent until proven guilty. But I think from what they seized, the evidence is pretty good.
And of course, you have the media covering this. You have witnesses that are speaking out. The body camera is there times at least 3.
Yeah.
And we're talking about an agency that, and no agency is perfect. And this agency is not perfect either. But this agency has a very, very good track record for dealing with the public and managing uses of force.
Yes.
Very good track record.
A very, high functioning agency, well regarded agency. But it just pisses me off to hear that you have no clue what's going on, and you just want to latch on that this person is being abused. No, this person is endangering your community, and these police are putting themselves at risk trying to get him in custody.
But let's talk about one more thing associated with this. By all accounts, the encounter was a self-initiated encounter by the officer.
I'm glad you mentioned that.
That officer was still being proactive, still looking for wrongdoing in his community,
Mm-hmm.
looking to keep his community safe. We can go one jurisdiction over, and we will see an environment where officers, and it disappoints me, but I completely understand it in light of the political environment, the social environment, the legal environment in that jurisdiction, where you see that car make that illegal left turn, and yeah, that's how you find guns and drugs. I mean, so when people are saying, particularly coming off of 2020, how traffic stops are bad and we can't be, the pretextual traffic stops in particular are
Yep.
horrible. Look, guns and drugs do not fall out of the sky along with the associated suspects, and we as police officers just find them. It doesn't happen. Where do you find them? Pre-
Traffic stops,
Pretextual traffic stops.
speeding, equipment violations, moving violations, and this was. I'm glad you brought that up because that's a prime example. Because we started hearing all these things. Oh, the police are all they're doing is focusing on the traffic. They got nothing better to do with their time. When you're stopping these cars for making an illegal turn. You got nothing better to do with your time. Well, that's exactly what this was.
Mm-hmm.
Illegal right turn on red.
Mm-hmm.
And what did that result in? Resulted in a illegal weapon taken off the street.
Mm-hmm.
A convicted felon that's possessing that illegal weapon taken off the street. Cocaine taken off the street. And fentanyl heroin taken off the street. Drugs that would have been in somebody's neighborhood. That would have gone to somebody's loved one that very well may have OD'd on. But that's how they came off the street. Is a simple traffic stop.
That simple traffic stop may, I mean, we're not God, but may have prevented multiple deaths.
Most every gun I seized came off a traffic stop, Al. The ones
Same.
that didn't were you from a search warrant on a house.
Right.
But those were really the only two places or times that I would seize guns, was on a traffic stop or searching a house. I mean,
But again, I go back
you had
to
a robbery suspect that I would get a gun, but
sure. I go back
traffic stops
to
was huge.
the neighboring jurisdiction.
Oh yeah.
Where those poor folks have been beaten down so much by the system and the circumstances that they've basically curtailed, and their manpower shit too. I mean,
Well,
really,
yeah, that's
shit.
a whole nother topic.
But they have basically curtailed self-initiated activity like that. So what does that do? What does that do? Now, your cops are purely reactionary. Are they seizing the guns? Are they seizing the drugs? Are they getting the really bad people? Okay, I'm not talking about the guy who's smoking a blunt on the corner and happens to get a ticket for it. Okay, I'm not talking about that.
Right.
I'm talking about the guy with the Schedule 1 and 2 narcotics, with the gun, the convicted felon, like this individual.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
it's not happening.
Yeah.
And the community suffers as a result.
Well, the crime goes up.
And really, let's be honest. Who is the most impacted? The people that are most impacted, and I will use the neighboring jurisdiction. You longtime listeners will figure this all out, but use the neighboring jurisdiction. There's some very wealthy areas there.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that they're driving around shooting up the corners and carrying on out in some of those neighborhoods? Absolutely not. Where is it happening? It's happening in already at-risk communities.
Mm-hmm.
Communities that are suffering everything from poverty to blight to high crime. And it's just, pouring gasoline on an existing fire.
Yeah. What
But the people out in other parts of we got to stop these bad cops. We got to stop these bad cops. I think we just needed to crawl up on our soapbox for a minute or two.
I think so. It's just frustrating. I grow tired of hearing these ridiculous arguments. When the police are wrong, we're wrong.
And you know what?
And
I don't have a problem saying that.
I don't have a problem calling it out. When it's
I
wrong,
don't.
it's wrong. I've seen many times where I've watched video or seen incident. I'm like, yeah, you know what? That officer was heavy-handed, or that officer was absolutely rude and caused that situation to go.
Or the officer was racist.
Yep.
You know,
Absolutely.
and those folks, they got to go.
Yes.
They shouldn't be there in the first place, but they got to go.
But the percentage of that is so low.
100% agree.
It's so low. But now it seems like anytime the officers want to put their hands on somebody or have to use force to effect an arrest, it's immediately demonized that it's
George Floyd 2.0.
Yep. And it's just reckless cops out there just beating up people. And it's not. It's cops doing a job they're sworn to do, and they don't want to give up doing their job because they feel like they're making a difference. But yes, at times they have to arrest people that want to fight or put up a resistance, and it just never will. It never will. And I told you about earlier, it's kind of like you take you and your 3-year-old kid are in the toy store.
Yeah.
And you've got your 3-year-old kid and grabs that action figure off the counter or whatever it is off the display and wants to get that, and you're like, no, we're not going to get a toy today. Maybe next week I can get a toy today. If your kid is like, okay, and gets it and is like, okay, yeah, puts it back. Okay, we'll go ahead and go, and walks on out and is on their game that day, then you walk on out and you have no issue. But if your kid is on that day where no, they're going to have that toy and no was not an option, what happens? They throw a temper tantrum. They go nuts. They scream and cry and fuss and no, you're not going to tell me no. It's a temper tantrum. And how does it look for the parent trying to drag them out the store? It doesn't look good. It doesn't look wonderful. It looks rough. That parent's dragging them by the arm or picking them up, got them under their arm, under their shoulder, and they're fussing at them. It looks terrible.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing. When an adult wants to fight being arrested, it's gonna look terrible.
Well, and there's a great quote, one that I'm particularly fond of, and as one of my old coworkers used to say, these are the kind of things that we don't talk about in polite society, at the nice cocktail party, but they are true. And it's from a Dr. Charles H. Webb. And it says, there is no nice way to arrest a potentially dangerous combative suspect. The police are our bodyguards, our hired fists, batons, and guns. We pay them to do the dirty work of protecting us. The work we're too afraid, too unskilled, or too civilized to do ourselves. We expect them to keep the bad guys out of our businesses, out of our cars, out of our houses, and out of our faces. We just don't want to see how it's done.
That's pretty accurate.
Yeah. And again, that doesn't mean we have to be abusive, brutal.
No. I mean,
but it's never going, like you said, it's never going to look good.
And most arrests are very uneventful. I mean, I think about all the times I've made an arrest. The ones that were eventful stand out because they were eventful.
I believe the national statistic is, and I can't recall off the top of my head, but it is well under 10% of arrests involve force.
Right. Yeah, because most are uneventful. Folks comply. They do what they're supposed to do. Okay, yep. Put the handcuffs on. Yep, you got me. Okay. And police take steps to try to make them uneventful. But there are some that it becomes a fight. It becomes a resist. So, and like I said earlier, the police don't have the option to say, okay, well, you know what? We're not going to fight you today, or we're just going to let you go because we don't want to get into a scuffle with you. So, hey, just make sure you don't bring your drugs and guns around here anymore.
Yeah.
They don't have that option.
Now, if that's the society people want to live in. I just want a heads up so I can move somewhere else.
Yeah, I want to begin my trek out.
Yes. Well, we wanted to talk about that for a little bit.
Yeah, I'm glad we kind of got that out and got to go over the conference. But man, it's always something, Al.
That's why we will be back for another episode.
So true. All right, Al, that's going to wrap up the episode.
I believe it does.
But where can they find us?
They can find us at badgetothebone.com. They can also email us at wearebadgetothebone@gmail.com or find us on Facebook at Badge to the Bone.
Make sure to like and follow us, and we'll have more content coming soon. But until then, be safe
and be well.